Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can solve this MCAT Chemistry question with no contents background and minimal calculations. So, an aqueous solution was prepared by mixing 80 grams of an unknown non-dissociating solute into 100 grams of water. The solution has a boiling point of 101 centigrades. What is the molar mass of the solute? Okay, what do we have here? We have the constant and we have the answer choices. And as you can tell, the unit for the answer choices is grams per mole. And when I'm solving this question, I like to solve them using unit analysis. So I look at the units I have and they're all grams in mole. So I know these four numbers should interact in such a way that the final unit should be grams per mole. So how many different types of units we have? We have mass units and we have temperature units. So it's easy, right? First of all, let's start with mass unit. We have 80 grams, 100 grams, and this also contains mass, right? Kgs. So there are only four ways these three numbers could interact with each other, but it's easy to just eliminate them because think about it. It cannot be addition and subtraction because this is a different unit from these two. And if you actually do the math, if we even use subtraction, the final answer is going to have no units of mass. So it's either going to be multiplication or dividing. So let's start with multiplication. Can we multiply all these three numbers? No, we cannot, because if we do that, the final unit is going to be grams to the power of 3. We do not have that here. So what's the next option? The next option would be maybe if we want to end up with just 1 unit of mass, and when I say 1 unit of mass, I mean just a gram, not grams to the power of 2 or grams to the power of 3. If we want to do that, then we need to basically multiply 2 of these numbers and divide the final result of the multiplication by the other mass, right? That's the only way you can do that. Because then we're going to end up with 1 gram, not like grams to the power of 2 or grams to the power of 3. So that's the only way. Subtraction and addition wouldn't work and multiplication wouldn't work. So you get this number and we got this number and we got this number. So which ones should be multiplied? We don't know, but we can experiment, right? Because there are only two scenarios. Either you multiply 512 by 80 and then divide the final answer by 100, or vice versa. And there are no third scenarios because you cannot divide any number by 512 because in that case, mole, which should be in the denominator, would go up in the denominator because if you divide any number by 512 the unit would be upside down, so we don't want that. So there are only two scenarios and I've already done the math for you, but you don't need to do the math when you're taking the exam. So you do the multiplication, you get this number, and you divide it by 100, you get this number, and I can already see that this number is here, right? So I'm happy, but I'm not gonna stop here. By the way, if you want to do this math in your head, it's easy to do. 80 multiplied by 5 is going to give us some number involving 4, right? And then if you divide it by 100, it's going to end up giving us a number involving 4. And when I say involving 4, I mean starting by 4. But if we multiply this by 100, it's going to give us a number starting with 5. And then we need to divide it by 8, which is going to give us a number starting with 6, right? So think about it. 50 divided by 8, we know that the final answer should start with a 6, but none of these answers, in fact, start with a 6. So we know that scenario 2 should be wrong. So I'm going to go with scenario 1. Scenario 1, but wait, we have a temperature here. We are not done yet. But we know that this temperature is not in the final unit. So when we interact this final number with this temperature number, the temperatures should be gone. And both of these temperatures are in the denominator. This is in the numerator and this is in the denominator. So they're on the same side. So the only way it could work is by dividing this number by a temperature number. So that's the only way. So we know that it involves dividing. We know that. But wait a minute. Are we gonna divide it by 101? No, we are not gonna do that. And that's why you need to have some content knowledge. To be honest, you don't need to have the content knowledge, but that would be helpful. But let's say you don't have a content knowledge. Are you gonna divide this number by this number? No, because this number is the boiling point of the entire solution. We are finding the molar mass of the solute. So if you want to find the molar mass of the solute, why do you even use the boiling point of the entire solution? That doesn't even make sense. What makes sense is using the increase in boiling point that the addition of the solute causes, right? So we added the solute and the boiling point is now 101. And we know that usually the boiling point of water is 100. We added some solute and the boiling point went up to 101. So that's the number we're going to use. 101 minus 100 is going to give us a 1. So we know that this number should be divided by 1 to give us the answer choice C. Easy, right? You don't need to have content to answer these MCAT questions. You just need to do unit analysis, and at the end, you just need to do some critical thinking. Because if you even try to divide this number by this number, it's not gonna even work, because let's say we divide it. It's gonna give us a 1-digit number. We don't even have a 1-digit number. The smallest number we have is a 2-digit number. So it's not gonna even work. So you know that the number is not 101. So you can just do some critical analysis and understand that the number we're looking for is 1. Okay, so you get this answer. I'm explaining this question to you, and that's why it's taking some time, but you could practically do it in a very short amount of time because you don't even need to do the calculations, to be honest. So the answer choice is C. But if you want to have the formula change in temperature equals this constant multiplied by the molality, and you would just use this other steps to come up with the final answer. I'm not going to do that because that's easy. You can find it online. But that's it for this video. If you have any other questions, let me know. And if you like to get more of these tips, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And have a great day.